Greetings! It is I, Ari David, and you're here for a special edition of Destined for Failure, a Twitch stream where I play Destiny badly and talk to people in the chat about literally anything. Hello, this one. Thanks for showing up. Let's get the proceedings starting. Let's shame myself. So we're gonna go hop into some PvP. The Iron Banner event, which if you've watched the stream, I've definitely played it before. It's a timed PvP event that's like a modified version of Control. And the only big difference is, the real big difference is that your power level matters. So if you're a high power boy like me, you're gonna stomp on them noobzors with all the extra Z's. I had the little red light blinking on my headset that said my mic headset was muted, but I'm not even using that mic, so why do I need to see that? Alright. Yeah. Dang noobs. So yeah, this is really exciting. Because you have to keep everything running concurrently for a month, there's like 4 things you have to juggle to qualify for affiliate. Amount of hours, amount of people talking in the chat, and then like followers. And last night, thanks to this one, probably everybody who's watching, because let's be honest, it's probably just my core audience right now. But we managed to guilt enough people on live internet to follow me. So now I'm over the threshold, but because I have to juggle everything for 30 days, it should help if I pull the game up. Now that I juggle everything for 30 days, I got to get 2 unique days of streaming in. So I'm doing now, and I have my regularly scheduled stream tomorrow. But we'll see what mood I'm in. I may do a little bit of a cheat because this stream is scheduled to go until midnight, and if I'm still feeling like playing, I may just stop the midnight stream and then start a new stream. It's like a double feature. I'm gonna cheat the system. That's a thought I had. That way when I come in for my regular Saturday's stream, I'll already be an affiliate, and hopefully I can figure out all that entails. I know I have to start offering you people stuff to make it worth subscribing. I get that part, but like, I didn't watch any of the tutorial videos on Twitch, like how to Twitch. I didn't do any of it.
Iron Banner.
Ooh, don't I look cool? I'm all glowy. The Adderall? It's in the medicine cabinet. I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I'm not hiding it. I'm not hiding the Adderall in my sock anymore. I'm not worried about the RA finding it.
Opponent claims Zone B.
Your turn.
You've lost the lead. Zone A captured. Zone advantage is yours. You're pulling ahead.
I don't know if I'm going to do an all-nighter, but I'll probably be up late tonight. It's a Friday night. I mean, I freelance, so days of the week are pretty meaningless, but... Oh my god. I got shot from behind. Like, I work every day, but... Whatevs. Hopefully more and more of this can become part of my work. Because boy, money from video games.
Opponent pulled ahead.
And I don't even have to be good at video games. That's cool.
Zone A lost.
See, that's what all those like super pro esport gamers, that's where they made the mistake. They built their reputation about being competent. But I'm literally doing the exact opposite. Except I did blow that guy up with a fireball. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw that part.
Come soon.
Rip.
You captured Zone C.
More fireballs. And my pretty gold toaster.
Opponent claimed Zone A.
Come on. Ah, yeah. Okay. I threw my melee and my grenade at that guy. And it didn't die. At that other player. Man. Gendering really has just made its way all the way into every aspect of our psyche.
Zone B captured. Zone C lost. Zone advantage.
And by our, I mean me. I'm the white guy here going... Guy. It's all... I'm only playing against white men. That's not true. Thankfully, Destiny has a really, really diverse player base. There's been some issues with toxicity in the community, but some Destiny Bungie has been stepping up at really bringing down the banhammer on creeps. So that's been good, because I don't really want to play a game filled with a bunch of awful people. Destiny players are usually pretty cool. Oh my god, there's nowhere... Right? Just call the dudes. That is our preferred nomenclature on this stream. Everybody's a dude. I do believe I have that in the flippin' chat rules when you join my chat. There's the be excellent to each other part. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely doing Bill and Ted in my chat rules, but I love Big Lebowski too, as the dude always abides. Oof. So that, Fellwinter's Lie is an awful, painful, devious shotgun that I don't have. But, shotguns are really popular in PvP. Sliding up to people and shotgunning you. Which is admittedly not my strong suit. I love shotguns, but I'm bad at it in a PvP context. Oh, I had auto tracking. I was on him. Stupid sniper rifles. Oh wait, Cold Denial's a pulse rifle.
5 minutes. The pendulum could swing either way. You're pulling ahead. That shut them down. Zone A captured.
Alright. And Keenan and Kel were luminaries. I maybe even successors to the Bill and Ted philosophy. Especially Kel. Because I do love me some orange soda.
Another hunter comes soon.
He had it right. Kel knew what it was about. In the world of prestige dramas, where we're getting a serious version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where's my gritty, like, reboot of Keenan and Kel, where we catch up with, like, Kel And he's almost middle-aged now. All that soda drinking has affected his health badly. You know, he's gotta, I don't know, turn tricks or be a hitman to get by. Whatever they do in prestige dramas these days. I didn't want to say that because that could have been construed as a racial stereotype.
Zone advantage
Um,
is yours. Zone B lost.
so any other of a myriad of health conditions, but specifically not diabetes. Oh, yeah, no, I know. Like, but it's the obvious joke. I'm not implying anything, Juan. You're cool. I'm just not. I just didn't go for it because I don't want. Everyone's hypersensitive, and I don't want to. I don't want to piss anyone off. I'm not looking. That's not my. That's not my vibe.
Zone A captured. The flames have ignited. Let the wolves
Oh
hunt.
man, how do you deal with a diabetic cat? I've never had to deal with, like, I've had a lot of cats in my life. None of them have had chronic diseases. They all just kind of worked and then croaked. You know, they were cats and then they weren't.
Well fought and well won.
Speaking of, mine's doing exactly what he feels like doing, which is sitting directly off camera. There's like an ottoman over there. He's listening to me talk to you all, and he's like, they want to see me, but I'm not coming. Oh no. I fed him already. So I guess he's done with me? I don't know. Insulin. Like, you have to give him a shot? My cat would die. I can't. My cat would never let me give him a shot. Holy cow. I'm glad all he has is oh man. Yeah, I've mentioned before, Dib's a street rescue, and he's you know, wasn't terribly socialized and maybe spent just a hair too much time out on the street. So he didn't really acclimate to people when we adopted him. He was like litter trained, um, but he wasn't ready to be hey, artistic. How's it going? He wasn't ready to be dealing with people, and we spent, like, he's 3 now. We got him when he was almost 6 months old, and he was like 3 months when they picked him up. So you can't get near him. You can't pick him up. I can get near him. I can. Well, that's good to hear. My dad's a diabetic, so like, you wouldn't think about it to look at me, but my dad is. I mentioned this last stream. He's like a big, barrel-chested Russian dude with a Jufro. I can say that, Jufro. It's awesome. Oh yeah, he's all about us. And he likes a couple of strangers. So I don't know if some of y'all noticed, even though I'm not an affiliate yet, because I broke 50 followers, I can make people VIP now. And I just went off of memory of who the people were that I usually see. I got some more available slots, so there's more room for more VIPs. All you diamond folks. That's the only tangible reward I can give you for continuing to watch this nonsense. Right? That's it. That's the height of your life. I've mentioned this before, but I love that like Greg is a universal emote. It makes me really happy just to see Greg's smirking face show up in my chat. Yeah, as I mentioned, I don't know if you just popped in, Cody, but my cat is being very much cat, and he's sitting directly off camera. He could very, if he felt like it, he could be on screen and helping me pay the rent at like a moment's notice. Hola, Flower. Welcome. I do. Oh, keep the Greg faces coming. That's a title of my sex tape joke. I know it. Keep the Greg faces coming. Why do I set myself up for that shit?
You captured Zone C. Zone A lost.
Yeah.
Everything's yours.
Yeah, Flower. Gross is right. Changing topics. I can't you know you can't control things from popping into your brain. That was one of those things. Unfortunately, I also had the part where I couldn't stop it from staying in my brain, and then it poured out of my mouth as verbal diarrhea.
Opponent claimed Zone B. Zone C captured.
Well played. 'Crossfire! 90s kids, what's up? Shout out, Crossfire. Does anyone know anyone that actually ever owned that game, Crossfire? Everyone knows the commercial from my age group. But did you ever actually know a kid that owned Crossfire? I didn't. I don't even remember seeing it in toy stores. I just remember that commercial. Crossfire! You did? Juan is the keeper of arcane knowledge. Up the street. Man.
Opponent pulled ahead.
That kid must have been really cool.
Zone A captured. Zone advantage is
That
yours.
sounds exactly, yep. Yep. That sounds like a gamer. Shunning the sunlight. More games than you can possibly play.
Zone A lost. Zone C captured. 2 zones are yours.
Well, I imagine... Oh, well, we punched a big ass hole in our ozone layers. The sunlight... We made the sunlight bad. But, you know,
Zone
that's...
C lost.
It's not my direct fault. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I waste this super or do I actually get anyone? I waste it. I got no one. That's how you waste a super. Welcome to Destined for Failure. Stream where I play Destiny badly. Dude, you played it. That's... I feel like I'm talking to someone that's like seen the Ark of the Covenant. I was there. I saw the tablets. I don't know how much of my viewership is West Coast, but if you are in the westerly direction, you have my incredible sympathies.
5 minutes remaining.
Oh wow, Captain Manic, ball bearings. That's some anger problems. Yeah, so I'm I got that Fellwinter's Lie shotgunned in the face by Crossfire. Right. So the stream I'm on yesterday, and I pointed this out.
Like that, their lead grows.
Like we're in LA. Well, not in LA. We're north of LA in this new fictional city, Night City, and it's called Cyberpunk Red because a nuke went off and the sky's red because everything got fucking ruined. And it the last edition of Cyberpunk was set in 2020, and now like the writer Mike Pondsmith is like, what the hell? I get like this was meant to be like speculative warning fiction, not real and awfulness. I don't know what the hell happened. Is that guy's cloak stretched across the like? That looked like a glitch. That's right, alright. Blame it on a glitch. In British Columbia. That's BC, right? I got it right? British Columbia? I want to make sure. I know I have Canadians.
Zone B lost. Now you are the hunted.
Much respect to Canada.
Hard fought.
I work for Canadians. CBR, the website that I work for, they're a Canadian website. So all my bosses are in Canada. I'm just junking all the trash stuff you get when you complete a round. Spare you from my cough. When I get there. How am I doing on? Woo! Look at all the shiny bounties I completed. So I got a rough game plan. I'm working through these bounties because Iron Banner, every time it shows up, it gives you a chance. It gives four extra pinnacle rewards, which are the only way to get to the hard power cap. And I'm just starting to drop gear at that. I have one weapon at 1060, which is that's the hard power cap. Look at me. I'm strong. I am very powerful. My numbers are bigger. That was so sad. So yeah, anyways, I want to get more of them. So I gotta go do these pinnacle quests. Up to 7 viewers. Hello all. And if I get bored doing this, I got other stuff I can do. I went and got all the bounties. If I feel like paying less attention, I'll take you all on a tour of like one of the sandbox maps while I collect stuff. Won't that be fun? I mean, it won't be any different then. I'll still be shooting things. It just maybe won't be as intense.
Iron Banner. Delay no longer. Glory is yours today.
So I've been mentioning for a while that I'm going to start streaming other stuff besides Destiny soon. I think after I hit affiliate, which is imminent, I will make good on that word. Wow, I killed that player from all the way across. Killed that dude.
Opponent claimed Zone B.
Yeah, well, this opponent's about to shred while he claims Zone C. Shred.
You captured Zone C. 2 zones are yours. Zone A lost.
That guy didn't shred enough. The one I was with. Try.
You captured Zone B. You have the advantage. Press on.
Dag nabbit. Why won't you die? He was standing in a healing rift. That was why he wouldn't die. Ugh. Took me a while to die. I'll take pride in that.
Zone C lost. Zone A captured. Zone advantage is yours. Zone B lost.
Teammates, make use of that rift. It stays up when I die. Stay there and capture the point. Lame. Fine, let's see if I can sneak up on C, since I won't be able to because there's definitely someone coming to shoot my face. I'm about to get... Oh no! Oh, how horrible. Oh, the humanity. I got a big fucking target on my back. Yeah, that's what happens. I don't know why I'm doing this right now in the middle. I can do that. There you go. I can check on my bounties. So the problem is these are like weekly bounties, and I haven't been playing Destiny, with the exception of the times I was streaming. So I think like once this week. So, like a frat boy doing a kegger, I gotta chug some Iron Bounty.
You captured Zone C. Opponent claimed Zone C.
Whoa! Death never looked more beautiful and fiery. Yeah, I took that one right to the all of me. They're gonna get.
Opponent claimed Zone B. Zone C.
They got the fucking lockout.
5 minutes remain.
So, yeah, magic fire sword.
Another hunt will come soon.
Oh, I know it will. I know it will, Shaxy. Oh, you're not Shax, you're Saladin. Sorry. Sorry, Saladin. How could I confuse you with the other deep-voiced, shouty guy that does PvP? When they're in the center of the screen is when you're supposed to shoot them, typically. But I like shooting to the left or right. Warning shots.
Zone B captured. Zone advantage is yours. Zone A lost.
How? How did I not kill that son of a gun? He got Jotuned. He got meleeed. What was that?
Zone C captured. You have the advantage. Press on. Zone B lost.
I wish this was a soccer game and I'd be one of those players that throws a fit.
3 minutes left.
What do you mean, yellow card? I don't know what any of the cards mean. I'm American. But I call it soccer. It's football. We have weird concussion game.
Captured. You have the advantage. Press on.
It's American football. Watch large, talented athletes give each other concussions and permanent brain damage. Hand egg. Hand egg.
Zone C
Yeah,
lost.
good old.
Zone A
Gotta
captured.
gotta
Zone
throw the good old
advantage
hand
is
egg.
yours.
That jet. No, that sounds bad. It didn't test well. Middle America didn't enjoy that.
You're pulling ahead. Zone C captured. Now you are the wolf. Finish the hunt.
Try not to sound so excited about it, Saladin. Yeah! Murder your friends! You all resurrect! Fucking kill them! Kill your friends!
Let the wolf rest.
Thank you, Captain Manic.
It's over.
I wish I had, like, the more you know. Yeah. A little rainbow comes across. That jingle was too short to get sued.
1 minute.
Fair use parody.
You captured Zone C. Opponent claimed Zone A. Opponent claimed Zone B.
Kinda like traffic lights. I dig it. I like football. The international football. The real one. I'll call it football.
30 seconds.
I'm on the internet. There is no country. Hey, you can pull that off, Juan. I'd sound weird trying to do, like, a Hispanic accent. I know a little bit of Spanish.
Zone C lost. You're being hunted. Don't let your guard down.
I sound very white when I say it.
But you'll be back.
Right? Why do we call it football? Well, we run around with our feet, but we hold the ball, though. So it's hold ball. Right. American football, I believe is what the game is referred to everywhere else. Well, thank you, Flower. That would be accurate. Just appropriately repping my my demographic as long as they let me. I am ethnically a Jew, so like I'm white with like they're keeping an eye on you with exceptions. Depends what part of the country I'm in. But I'm in New York, so yeah, I'm white. Oh no, like artistic, like a hill valley thing. Like, totally, bruh. Sick. We just went out for a wicked brunch. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of you, Artistic. I'm making fun of that theoretical person. I love that the Californians. I can't do that. But listening to them talk about directions on how they got there, that was fucking awesome. I've been to LA and I know I've sat in the highways in traffic, so I know that that's got to be a real thing. I grew up in Jersey, so I heard a lot of, use guys. Had a lot of that. New Jersey, where our catch-all phrase is "you good." You just change the inflection of "you good." It can mean a whole lot of things. You could be asking a question. You good? You could be intimidating. You good? Like, hey, you good? Are we gonna start some shit? Which is probably the most common usage in New Jersey. It's the New Jersey hello. I'm talking about New Jersey like it's an episode of the Jersey Shore. Which, by the way, that show was traumatizing for me because they chose to shoot it in literally the exact strip of Jersey Shore that I went to as a child, Seaside Heights. And, I mean, it's all gone now because of Hurricane Sandy. Like, that boardwalk got obliterated. But, it was so sad for me because the Jersey Shore cast, they don't live in Jersey. They live in Long Island. They're all from Long Island, and they come down to the Jersey Shore. They're not people from Jersey. They're just the people that show up on our beach in the summer and we want to punch. I won't lie, like, overall, we're a bitter state. Like, we hate it, but don't you fucking insult it.
Zone B captured. You have the advantage. Press on.
I had to watch parts of that show professionally because I worked as a video editor in daytime television, and part of my job was like cutting up snippets of TV shows. In a former life, Obama was still president. Magical world. How? How did I miss him? It's alright. Vindication. That other guy got me, for the record. Close, Cody. Almost the same franchise. We call it the light here. Use your shining. No, it's the shitting. Don't you want to get sued? Speaking of The Shining, great movie, great book. I recently watched Doctor Sleep because it was on one of the streaming things, and it had the option for the director's cut. I gotta be honest, I dug it. I watched the director's cut. I did not watch the theatrical cut. I don't know why, but they're like, it's a 2.5 hour movie, but the director's cut's 3 hours. And I'm that idiot that's like, yeah, well, I bet you that's the most important half hour that they took out. So I watched it. Overall, I dug it. I mean, it's not Kubrick, but it's Mike Flanagan, who's a really competent horror maker. He did Oculus. and The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, and he is about to have the next season of it, the Haunting of Bly Manor. It's like an anthology series. That's an adaptation of Turning of the Screw, which is honestly pretty cool. I don't see. Alright. So it was a different thing, but I really liked it. I thought Ewan McGregor did a really cool job. I thought Mike Flanagan walked a really fine line between adapting the book and making it also a sequel to the movie. Because there's a lot of drama behind Kubrick's version. Because he and Stephen King hated each other's guts, and he changed as much of the book as he possibly could when he was adapting it. The book's a lot more about alcoholism, which Dr. Sleep keys in on a bit more. But I thought it was cool. No spoilers, but like the villains in that were fucking creepy. And I'll let you in on a little secret. That movie disturbed the hell out of Greg. The reason I decided to watch it was Greg sent me a text because I watched Dr. Sleep. That is the stuff of nightmares. Why would someone make that movie? That was in text, but like, you've all seen Greg worked up. You know what that's like. Ewan McGregor is always worth watching. Um,
5 minutes remaining.
The explanation was not for that specific instance, but Danny, I don't know if it's in the theatrical cut, but Danny basically explains that they're all ghosts of people that have been murdered or died, and that the hotel just has a sordid history of collecting awful souls. And Cody, I highly recommend the Haunting of Hill House. So it's one of those shows that like is really great, but then maybe the ending is just not quite as awesome as the rest of it, but the journey's worth it. That's what I would say. I hear you, Flower. I used to be a real scaredy cat when I was a kid. And I wouldn't... Alien was, like, the thing that scared the crap out of me. Like, to the point that when I was a little kid and I had a stomach ache, I used to think I had one of those aliens in me that, like, a face hugger got to me in the middle of the night. I remember, I believe it was in Baltimore, they had, some kids... some like arts or science museum there, and there was an exhibit on the art of Alien, and they had the power lifter there with like a wax mannequin of Ripley in it, and then they had one of the models of like the Alien Queen, like the shooting one, and I was 8 and I couldn't handle it. I had to get out of there. That was like a PTSD moment. I got triggered. Now it's like one of my favorite movies. I love the Alien films, but like, as a kid, they freaked me the hell out. I don't know. High school's when I started getting over being a scaredy cat all the time. My first R-rated movie that I remember is Terminator 2: Judgment Day, and probably also Predator. Arnold was definitely my first rated R. Like a true American. The Governator, indeed. Here's the funny thing. Get to the chopper! As soon as somebody types that, everyone's got to do their Arnold impersonation. Undeniable. Cosmetic engram that I can't access. I can't do it right now because I'm all full up and everything's going to my postmaster, and it's just because I'm at a weird point in power progression where if I get just like one or two pinnacles in the right spot, I'll be able to unlock gear at a higher rating than I can now, and it's not worth it because all my stuff's at that current rating. You had a boyfriend take you to Last Tango. That is. I hope that wasn't a first date. I hope like you two were dating for a while. I'll take you to see a movie. Let's go watch Last Tango in Paris. And go buy some butter. It's really boring, but at one point, Marlon Brando grabs a stick of butter and asks the girl that he's almost locked in his apartment to lube her fingers with butter and stick them up his butt. And that's a real part of cinema. Academy Award winner Marlon Brando. It's a true story. Yeah, I know. I was imagining that Flower because it was your first rated R. I imagine you were like in high school or something. Get the butter. Fun fact about Marlon Brando: he was so impossible to work with that I mean, when he played Superman's dad, he tried to completely derail the production, and I know this story because when I was in film school, the director of the original Superman movie, Richard Donner, spoke at my school, so I have it firsthand from Richard Donner. I listened to him tell the story that he went to get Marlon Brando. To get the movie made, they needed a name, and the guy they cast as Superman was no one. He was Christopher Reeve. He'd been in nothing, and he's like third credited in the movie. I think it goes Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, and then Christopher Reeve. In Superman's own film, he's like not top billed. And so he had to do a lot of convincing. So he went to Brando's house. And Brando was, he'd ask him all sorts of questions. Like, why does he gotta look like a human? He's an alien. I want my head to be a bagel. And it's true. He asked if Jor-El's head could be a bagel. He wanted all the Kryptonians to have bagels for heads. It's a true story. And Richard Donner's like, well, I can't. So the whole thing is that like they look like people, so that like their kid blends in. And so he basically that was it. He showed up. He wouldn't memorize any of his lines. He did the Godfather thing where like he read his everything off of cue card. And he would do X amount of work. He decided, like, you're not gonna make my head a bagel? This is what you get. They got the non-bagel head package. Like, they would have gotten On the Waterfront, Brando, if they had just made Jor-El's head a bagel. But no. Superman's the man of steel, not the man of yeast. Boy, what a terrible superhero to be. The man of yeast. More terrible images I have non-consensually placed into your heads. And drop to 0 viewers.
Zone B captured. Zone advantage is yours. Zone
Oh. No! I'm dead. I realized too late I was out of ammo.
Be wary. Your opponent's lead has grown. Zone B captured. 2 zones.
Why do I keep bringing it? I keep compulsively wanting to look at the quests at the worst possible time. Oh, my pinnacle. Where's my pinnacle? Can I get my pinnacle? I want a pinnacle. I'm keeping an eye on my Discord too, because I don't have my party open right now, so my friends can't just drop in, and I'm not logged in on voice on Discord. Pat hasn't yelled at me yet, but he is playing Destiny.
Zone B captured. Zone advantage is yours.
He'll probably hop on the stream and tell me to use my Rift. If he felt like playing. Although, where did his live on Twitch channel go? That's weird.
Surge of power, and now
His server changed. It's an exclusive place to be.
Zone C captured. They hear the howls and no fear.
Ha ha ha! I am invincible!
Another hunt will come soon.
I'm not invincible. I'm very vincible.
Zone C captured. Your lead grows sharper. Opponent claimed Zone B. Opponent claimed Zone A.
If being invincible is good, why would you name your kid Vince? Nobody wants to be Vince. Invincible?
5 minutes remaining.
What is a Vince? What's the etymology of that? I don't know. I'm a writer. I should know that. But I don't. Words are fun.
You're being hunted. Don't let your guard down.
GoldenEye, yeah. That was the 90s in a nutshell. There is not a single more 90s action movie. Maybe Speed.
Took the lead. Not for
Or like The Rock.
the flames have gone cold.
And that was another movie that had a great Sean Bean death scene.
Zone A.
Before he died as Boromir, he died as 006.
Zone C captured. Zone advantage is yours.
And then he also died in everything else he was ever in.
Zone C
You-
lost.
For England, James. So good. And they've repeated that villain type again. Like, that was basically Javier Bardem in Skyfall. He was like M's other favorite. And was like, this is what happens when M forgets about you. Look at my ugly face. I'm gonna destroy the world. That was... And for the record, I really liked Skyfall. I think that one's really good. I missed... I didn't see Spectre. I heard mixed things about it. And I will probably... Valor overflowing. Well, time to go back to orbit if my Valor is overflowing. It's not good to get your Valor backed up. You get a Valor overflow. And then that's just wasted Valor. Reset Valor rank. So basically, There's a max rank you can achieve in competitive and non-competitive PvP. And when you max it out, you can reset it and start the whole thing over again and collect loot. And there's like triumphs you get for repeating that. Sure. I am known primarily for my valor. He says, having roleplayed 2 characters on livestream back to back that do not engage in melee combat physically. Aelith and Mr. Friend, they're both like, yeah, I'll just stand back. You guys can... You got this. So we're gonna... Greg probably hasn't announced it yet, but we were really, really happy with how Cyberpunk turned out. That was actually supposed to be the end of our little one-shot, but and then like maybe go back to D&D. But we're all digging it enough that we came to the consensus that we're gonna do a full season of Cyberpunk, like we did for D&D, and then when we hit a season finale for Cyberpunk, we'll probably switch back to D&D. So next week will be more Cyberpunk. You got the scoop here. We were having a good time. We were having a real good time, especially once Greg and I figured out how to smooth out net running, and he's got a lot of ideas to make it easier for him while he's physically running it. And I'm not blowing smoke when I say that the rules for net running are much, much better. I'm not allowed to talk about specific mechanics. You can see what we're playing, but like the NDA I'm under, I can't really like talk about it. But compared to how Cyberpunk 2020 worked, it's night and day. I used to discourage players from playing Netrunners, not because they couldn't figure it out mechanically or it would be too much extra work, but it would split the gameplay up too much. Because you couldn't do what you can in Cyberpunk Red, which is simultaneously net run while in combat and have it all be one initiative.
Iron Banner. Young wolves and iron lords to battle.
I'm also gonna keep playing this, but if you guys want to see, if you folks want to see a different game mode, if you're all sick of watching me get my face blown up in PvP, hey, that's one pinnacle. I will switch to other stuff. I'm happy. I'm under no obligation or pressure to do anything with other players right now. So
Zone A captured. Zone advantage is yours. Opponent took the lead. Zone C lost.
but from what I've been gathering, the fact that I'm playing Destiny is almost secondary to this stream. It's mostly, is he gonna talk about the other stream I watched the other night? And is he gonna talk about Greg? Or is he gonna say something funny? I feel like that's the primary purpose of my stream, and then I'm just the playing of one of my favorite video games is just like window dressing. I'm excited to do single player games. I'm really excited to start doing RPGs. Supposedly there's a Mass Effect remaster that's gonna happen, and ooh boy, ooh, I will chomp into that. We'll get Shepard going. Get back on the Normandy. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, obviously. But I promised Dragon Age first because, well, I mean, right before I started heavily getting into streaming, There will be random movie talk. I can almost promise you. I am a cinephile. I'm here as a gamer. It's weird. I straddle two worlds professionally because I am like the writer and copy editor for an indie card game company, and I go to PAXs and stuff. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. They're getting a gritty, dark reboot. That's weird. And Will Smith is producing it. So he's like, yeah, you know what this world needs? Like a really dark version of Fresh Prince. Like it opens on the little bit of trouble, and it's like a drug deal goes wrong, and someone gets stabbed, and like he's got to go undercover. Like he goes in the cover of night. Well, what else do you expect, Captain Manic? It's everyone here is basically. I don't think I've gotten anyone totally random or new. Everyone's from Greg's stream, and Greg's a quality fellow who cultivates a good audience. So I'm just mooching off of him. But I appreciate your patronage and your time. Chill is the point. I'm not interested in doing a really intense stream. For fun, I may, like, as a special event, do, like, a raid with the clan if they're willing to put up with me. They have limited patience for my lack of platforming skills. Give me that sweet, sweet pinnacle now. It's a gun. But it's in the same slot, damn it. So this is the problem. No bad luck protection. I need more 1060 gear, but I don't need it here. I need you to give me here, literally anywhere else but where you did it. You stupid so-and-so. Thank you for dropping me maximum rank gear. I'm mad. But you're gonna maximum rank now. Yeah, the world's pretty crazy right now. We can talk about however much of that we want to. If this is pure escapism, that's cool too. I got tons of political opinions. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But at the same time, respite is good. That's why I've been asking as many people as possible if they've seen the Bill and Ted movie. It is literally it's the antidote to the quarantine blues. Oh, Cody, I'm so sorry to hear that. My mom's a teacher. She's actually president of her union chapter in Jersey, and it's a nightmare. She's very, very stressed out. So yeah, my sympathies. And yeah, you totally do. If you like the first two Bill and Ted movies, congratulations, you've got another Bill and Ted movie that is exactly their Bill, their Ted. They're in a time machine. Stupid stuff happens. They got older. They didn't lose any of their chemistry. Like, they both were clearly having a very stupidly good time making that movie. Dagnabbit. $40 3-packs worth it. My partner and I, we decided it was like $20 to rent it or $25 to own it, and I just was like, look, historically I love Bill and Ted. That doesn't mean jack about this movie, but like I'll place my bets here Also, you know, I was betting on the fact that we are currently in the Keanu sans. So like, this could have been the Bubble movie, like, you know, that extra Pirates of the Caribbean film that destroyed Johnny Depp. Just that one too many Captain Jack Sparrows. But no, no, Ted is delightful, and he actually, without no spoilers, I would say Ted is the one who changed the most in the intervening years,
You captured Zone B.
and Bill is much more like himself. But that's not to say Keanu Reeves wasn't playing Ted. It broke my rule of not buying a movie over $15, which is a fantastic rule to have, by the way. And it was good. But if you don't own the other two and you want like the 3-pack, then that's $40 for 3 pieces of cinema goodness. I mean, that is one of the... I can honestly say it now from having watched it, but that's one of the rare franchises that has no weak link. You can watch all 3 of those movies with pride. And it's definitely the end. Like... It's Face the Music. It really... They really... It's a finale. It's a good one. So go see it. I don't know why Keanu Reeves doesn't need my business. Like, he doesn't need my help. He's Keanu Reeves. He did prove he needs the beard, though. Because he was clean-shaven, and my girlfriend thought he was wearing, like, prosthetics on his cheeks. I was like, no, he's just, like, in his 50s. Nobody's immortal. So, like, she's like, oh, he looks old without his beard. Yeah, well, that's why if you see the press, he immediately grew the beard back. He knows it. But Keanu Reeves in his 50s with a beard is primo. That's a grade A, all Canadian. Well, he's born in Beirut, Lebanon. But he is better with the beard. I think we're all in agreement here. Keanu Reeves is better with the beard. But Ted wouldn't have a beard. I think it was the right call to shave it. I can just see Ted going, just so itchy. Like, no. Plus, I don't think the princesses would be down with that. I think, which one is he married to? Joanna? I think he's married to Joanna. And the other one's Liz. Oh, and if you're worried, the kids are cool. Like, you're always worried that you're going to get, like, a Shia LaBeouf and Indiana Jones. You're going to get a Mutt Lange. You're gonna get the annoying kid of the hero, but no, the Billy and Thea, the daughters, they're very good. Yeah, they were on point, and they didn't steal the show. They had their own like side plot, but it was still definitely Bill and Ted's movie. They were basically like, oh shit, we gotta go help our dad.
Captured Zone C. Opponent claimed Zone A. Zone B captured. Zone advantage is yours.
I'm just impressed that a movie franchise as dumb as that one has such a consistent continuity. They never recast a role. And they keep track of every event. Like, they actively talk about the events of both the movies. Like, yeah, we were in hell, and we traveled through time. Same writers for all 3 movies. They created the characters. They were improv comics, so they actually pretended to be Bill and Ted, and acted them out on stage. And then they took these two goofy idiots, and were like, "What situation could we put these goofy characters we made up in?" And they're like, "I know. Like, let's make them time travel." It is rare. Different director for Bogus Journey, but Face the Music is directed by the same director of Excellent Adventures. Stephen Herrick came back, so it was like a big reunion. They got a lot of the old crew back for the third movie, which is definitely a big part of why the movie worked and why it felt, even in 2020, like, those characters are definitely, it was an 80s movie. It was an 80s movie, but it came out in 2020, and it worked because your love for those two well-meaning idiots transcends any problem you have with the plot, which you can't really, like, it's a pretty straightforward plot when you watch the movie. It's not that confusing.
I'm calling it. The hunt has ended.
Alex Winter, so if you don't know this, like, they've been working on it for years. It was a labor of love to get it made. It was made on a micro budget. So to give you, like, an example, like, most Marvel movies are like $150 to $250 million to make. Bill and Ted has a lot of special effects in it. There's a lot of time travel, and, like, they go to hell. There's all this crazy laser beams and explosions and realities falling apart. Bananas. They made the third movie, the latest one, was the $25 million budget, which is practically an independent film at that point. So it's crazy. They shoestring budget. And Alex Winter, you may not think, like, that dude had a career. You're like, oh, Keanu's the one that went on to be a star. Don't worry about Alex Winter. That dude did fine. He stepped behind the camera. He is a very accomplished documentarian, and he's also worked in kids television a bunch. But he's like a director and a producer. And he's still very much connected in the industry. His stuff plays at, like, Sundance. He did a whole documentary on the rise and fall of Napster called Downloaded. Alex Winter is like check out his Twitter feed. He's a very, like, erudite, smart dude. That's the irony, is that neither Keanu or Alex are idiots, and they play those morons up to a T. And they had the same writers, but the writers were saying that Keanu and Alex would veto lines because they would say, "Well, Bill and Ted wouldn't do that. They wouldn't say that." And the writers were like, "You know what? You're right," because they realized the only time they objected is when Bill and Ted were lying or doing something that wasn't nice. They're like, "But Bill wouldn't lie. And Ted wouldn't say that. Ted's not mean." They would call the writers out if they felt it wasn't to the characters, and the writers, yeah, they were. Well, that's why one of the reasons it took so long is they were both like, if we're really gonna do this, it's got to be worth it. So I'll keep gushing about that movie until I get John Wick 4, and then we can talk about John Wick 4 nonstop. I'm a sucker for the John Wick movies. I don't care that they're getting more absurd as they go along. I'll watch Halle Berry in an elaborately choreographed dogfight where what's his face, Braun from Game of Thrones gets his nuts bit off.
You captured Zone B. Zone advantage is yours.
That was some awesome movie.
Zone A lost.
So, my theory is that because If you paid attention to the absolute monstrous garbage fire that was The Matrix Revelations, which I only saw one time, so I am quoting this off of memory. Neo wasn't even the first Neo. Like, they had done this cycle of revolution a bajillion times over. So I think what you're going to see is another loop. It's another version of the loop. Despite the seeming ending that our Neo broke the cycle, we're gonna find out he didn't, and they very tellingly, Lawrence Fishburne isn't coming back, and there's a young Morpheus. So this is why I think it's cyclical. I think Neo is gonna train Morpheus and tell him to look out for me. Like, it's one of those types of deals. And that this Neo will die, and the new Matrix trilogy will follow young Morpheus. And maybe he's the one this time. I don't know. But it's definitely going to deal with more of their cyclical, philosophical stuff. And they're gonna throw vis-a-vis and by extremis and whatever other weird terminology they want to put in there to confuse the hell out of you before they do some slow-mo fight scenes. And yeah, I can dig it too. Look, as long as Keanu Reeves puts on some black sunglasses, wears a black trench coat, and does kung fu for at least 5 minutes of that movie, I'm fine. The rest of it can suck. I just want to see Keanu beating people up. A man of peace brought to violence. That's what everybody wants to watch. Whoa. Alright. Halloween homework for everybody. This Halloween, in honor of Keanu, watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. Starring him, Gary Oldman, Anthony Hopkins, Winona Ryder, and Carrie Elways, and like a bajillion other people. And he does the absolute worst British accent, and he gets decimated on screen by he gets absolutely decimated by Gary Oldman, who acts circles around him. Not even, I mean, it's sad. That was not his strong suit, but that was a phase in his career where he was being cast in period movies. People thought they could do it. He was in a version of The Merchant of Venice with Al Pacino, and he was also in the John Malkovich, Glenn Close adaptation of Dangerous Liaisons. He was in like the pre-French Revolution France as like a piano teacher who challenges John Malkovich to a duel. Your Honor, sir. Whoa. He's like fucking 18 in it. They were not utilizing him correctly. He was in My Own Private Idaho, and he was great in it with River Phoenix. And then they went and put him in a bunch of like period films. Like, wait, what the hell are we doing? And then they made Point Break, and everything was fine. Point Break, Bill and Ted, and then he did Speed, and everything was right with the world.
Let the wolves rest. The hunt is over.
They should have also not made a Point Break remake. Are you all aware that that came and went like a fart in the wind? The Point Break remake.
Opponent claims Zone C.
I didn't bother. I didn't bother to watch it. I vastly preferred Keanu in Toy Story 4, which, by the way, a sequel I didn't want to happen, but like, I feel like they just got away with it. It was really good, but Toy Story 3 was like the perfect freaking ending. It killed you, and then I'm like, where do you go from there? And they did something good, but if they make a Toy Story 5, I'm gonna punch them in the face. There's only so many times I can cry. The original Toy Story is still fantastic. All of them stand up. They're all good movies. Yeah, no, I was a grown man blubbering in a movie theater during Toy Story 4. Woody's not Woody matured. He doesn't need a kid anymore.
3 minutes. They're matching your moves.
Toy Story 3 is the most traumatic. It is the most traumatic out of all of them. Oh, yeah. It's so fucking rough. Oh no, we're making ourselves cry now by remembering Toy Story. I promised myself I'd never cry on Twitch. That's not true. I never made that promise. I'll do anything for a cheap buck. I have a donate money. I have a donate button, and I'm about to hit affiliate, so I can start making money off this soon. So you know, I'll be your private dancer, your dancer for money. I'll do what you tell me to do. Absolutely. I talked about doing watch parties. I didn't realize you had to be affiliate to do it, but you do. And we're all on the grid, so we should all have Amazon accounts. So we'll do an Amazon watch party once I hit affiliate. We'll do some spooky stuff. I'll take requests, and I'll talk over it, and I'll share what anecdotes if I have them, or MS3, you know, Mystery Science Theater style mocking. I'll also watch stuff I haven't seen before. I don't care. Yeah, the watch party thing would that would make use of my college degree. I know that Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, that $100,000 piece of paper, would come into use eventually. Not a single professional entertainment industry job I went to gave a crap where I went to college. I watched some of it. I like Jonah Ray. He's a really funny guy, and obviously I like Felicia Day. She raided our stream really early on when we were not prepared, and Greg's like fascistic auto mod muted her, almost kicked her. I watched some of it. It was great. It was yeah, if you go, it should be on H2D2 on YouTube. One of our very early, the first or second D&D session we did, Felicia Day rated us. It was awesome. We were not prepared for it. I really wish she rated us like now that we have all the tech crap ironed out. But we were not ready. Oh boy. Yeah. I had so much fun. I took a screenshot of it. And the part where the chat accused me of swooning over Felicia Day, which was factual. I did. You can go watch the video. You can see I'm literally having I'm having like
Iron Banner.
the Beatles Came to America meltdown moment on screen. And it was just text that said Felicia Day. I mean, I know it was her, but I didn't even see her speak to me.
You captured Zone A.
I lost my goddamn mind. Yeah, how could you not? She has done much for the nerd service, for the cause of nerdage. She is one of our patron saints. All praise the Felicia Day.
Opponent claimed Zone B.
Yeah, everything I heard is that she's like a nice person that wants to live a like semi-normal private life, so she doesn't do a lot of crazy shit. Can you blame her? I don't. I think that's cool. I've had, I don't know if it's a privilege, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of celebrities, actors, filmmakers, industry people in my life. And
Zone A lost.
all the really, like, the jerks are the ones that want to be treated like gods. But most of them just want to be spoken to like they're not famous. Like, if you can just look them in the eye and say, hey, and smile, that makes their fucking day.
Zone C lost.
Because everybody treats them like a commodity and like they need to be managed. And I feel for some of the the celebrities I've met. But I've hung out with some cool ones. Mickey Rourke. I hung out with Mickey Rourke after a screening of The Wrestler. And it was me and like 3 of my classmates, and we caught him outside the screening room. He was having a cigarette, and we just started talking to him, and he shot the shit with us for like an hour, and then he's like, alright, I'm gonna go hit the bar and watch the game, see you guys later. I was like, did that just happen? Did we just hang out with Mickey Rourke? He is cool. He's very cool. He's really honest about how messed up his face is. He's like, yeah, so I went through like a mental breakdown after I got famous. Went back into boxing and let my face get destroyed. And he's like, I also have no fine coordination in my hands anymore. Because I broke all my hands boxing. And I took opiates and kept boxing with broken hands. And you're like, what is happening? But I swear, Mickey Rourke told me that about himself. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't do that at all. Especially now that he's Nick Fury. Motherfucker will call S.H.I.E.L.D. down on you. He's Mace Windu, Nick Fury, and the Snakes on the Plane guy. He wields too much power. You know who was surprisingly awesome? Wayne Brady. Comedian from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Wayne Brady. On the show I worked on, I did some camera work, and I shot backstage messages. So I would have to come into their green room and be like, hey, here we go, I'm gonna hold this up. And I was wearing a RoboCop t-shirt. It was the OCP logo. And I'm filming it, and before we can even start filming it, he bursts into laughter and goes, that shirt's awesome, dude. So he liked my RoboCop shirt, and that made him cool. Edgar Wright, I met him. He was really cool. I chatted with him for a bit. The guy who directed like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim, and Edgar Wright is as cool as you want him to be. I wore a zombie shirt. It was a screening of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. But I wore a zombie shirt because, of course, I would wear a zombie shirt. And he got it instantly and loved it and asked me to explain more about it because it wasn't just a zombie. It was a zombie giving a piggyback ride to a human, and the human was dangling a brain on a stick. So, you know, like a carrot on a stick for a donkey was a zombie donkey. It was a zombie, you know. And he thought that was hysterical. He appreciated it. Yeah. Some elements of his script made it into the final product, but the problem is he wants to do his own thing. And that doesn't really work with the MCU formula. MCU, you're allowed to do individuality within certain constraints. Like, you can be kind of different, but you have to fit the MCU brand. And there was things he wanted to do that didn't line up with what they wanted. And this isn't the first time that happened. Ed Norton was supposed to play the Hulk for years, but he and Marvel couldn't get on the same page creatively, and he left after the one Hulk movie. Now you're in my wheelhouse. We're talking movie stuff. I got this. This I got. I can go on about this shit forever.
You're getting closer. Fight on.
I'm great at trivia night. There's a is there on my team? Dr. Mrs. the Monarch is on my team. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I know Venture Brothers got canceled. I'm not in mourning because I do not believe this cancellation will stick. I think someone's going to buy them for sure. It's one of the best cartoon shows ever made. Adult Swim, the people that canceled them, they went on Twitter and they're like, look, we love Venture Brothers too, so we're helping them find a new home. So that's what's happening. HBO Max has expressed interest in Venture Brothers. So I'm not counting them out yet. I'm just still waiting for season 8. What else is new? And if Adventure Hour reference. I don't know. I've met enough celebrities now that, like, there's very few on the list that, like, I would flip my crap over if I met. Patrick Stewart, Keanu, the aforementioned Keanu. That's about it. Ian McKellen, maybe. But, I don't know. Like most, I've met too many quote unquote famous people now that the luster of it has worn off. I've worked award shows, like setting up the tables beforehand. I volunteered to do it, and in return, I get free drinks and I get to hang out during the award show. And the reason you would want to do that is because, and this was for the National Board of Review, it was the NBR Awards. So the best part of the NBR Awards is it's not televised, and the actors know that, so they all get hammered. They get hammered. I have seen John Hamm, Stephen Colbert, and Bill Murray shit-faced laughing their asses off by the bar. It's one of the coolest things I ever witnessed in my life. It was while they were shooting The Dark Knight Rises, and Christian Bale came by to accept an award for some other movie he was in, and he would not shut up about how awesome it is to be Batman, and that how he had to leave to fly back so he could keep playing Batman. He's like, I don't know if you know this, but I just came from, LA where I'm shooting Batman. Wait for applause. He's like, I gotta go back and play Batman. Wait for applause. But he really did. He literally came in, it was snowing, and he came in a limo, accepted his award, and then immediately left in the same limo to fly back to continue shooting The Dark Knight Rises. So that happened. I watched Kevin Spacey be real creepy. Big shock. He was being very melodramatic. There was like a VIP balcony bar section, and he was the only one sitting there. And he sat right at the edge, and he just looked out, and he just looked out at you. I don't think he's allowed to drive that shit. I think they only let the stuff... Yeah, Kevin Spacey is a turd. I met famed Irish director Danny Boyle and the entire cast of Slumdog Millionaire. I met Danny Boyle a couple of times now, and he's a really cool guy. He's really nice. Saw Slumdog Millionaire, and it's a great movie if you haven't seen it. But I spent the whole time talking to him about his most underrated film, Sunshine. And I was like, oh, dude, like, I love Slumdog, but can we talk about Sunshine for a second? And his eyes lit up, and he goes, yeah. He's like, let's talk about Sunshine. I was like, I saw it in theaters, and, like, I own it on DVD, and you really need to see it in theaters, so you lose something. And he looked at me, like, knowingly, wide-eyed. He's like, yes! Like, he understands. It was a great moment. Yeah, I didn't talk to Stephen Colbert. I definitely would have freaked out. But he was a very jocular, happy individual, as was John Hamm. John Hamm seemed like a pretty cool dude. Bill Murray never lost his cool. Oh, nice. Nice, Captain Manic. We mentioned GoldenEye earlier. I met Pierce Brosnan. He's so fucking tall. He's huge. He's like almost 6'5". I've met Gary Oldman too. At a screening for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He was Gary Oldman. He was too cool to be around. Like, what do you do when you're in a room with that guy? And I've met some celebrities, and it's changed my opinions of them. Like, I've met Kristen Stewart briefly. And I say meet, and it's like quick conversations and watching an interview. Man, people give her such a hard time. She just hated Twilight and was doing it for the money, which you can't blame her for. And if you watch her in other movies, like I saw her in The Runaways where she was playing Joan Jett, she can act. She can perfectly act. And we talked about this last stream about Robert Pattinson. Everyone was like, not the Twilight guy. I'm like, shut up. Robert Pattinson's fine. He wasn't the problem with Twilight. If you want to trash any of the actors in the Twilight movies, it's Taylor Lautner. That guy was just not wearing a shirt and reading off of cue cards. Oh yeah. Robert Pattinson couldn't give two shits. And the best part is that if you see the roles he does commit to, like The Lighthouse, he's great. When they announced him as Batman, I had seen this other movie called Cosmopolis, which is a David Cronenberg film, and he plays this cold, reclusive billionaire in a high-tech car who drives around New York City. And I watched it and I was like, yeah, of course. Of course Robert Pattinson can do this. Like, he'll be in a costume. Michael Keaton didn't have the muscles. It doesn't fucking matter. Yes, the books were the problem with Twilight. If your source material's garbage, I will write it down once I die. I'll just put the title in the... Actually, I won't do it. I'll do it right now. As he says, as he pulls up the stream manager, I gave the team a kill. It's alright. It should be on Amazon Prime. Cosmopolis. It's a strange film. I won't lie. It's David Cronenberg. He did, like, The Fly. So, like, I don't know. If you haven't seen The Fly, that's where the Jeff Goldblum is watching you poop meme came from. That was his face in The Fly. Cosmopolis is weird. Cosmopolis is crazy weird. But I liked it a lot.
Zone C lost.
But I'm an odd duck myself.
The enemy is gaining. Remind them of your strength.
Phantom Spaceman. That's also a Venture Brothers reference. Phantom Spaceman!
Good counter. Now hit them again. 5 minutes remain.
Yo, Johnny! Vanessa the Rabbit. That is, that's John,
You have the advantage. Press on.
my fellow cyberpunk enthusiast. We kicked ass last night. Rabbit finally got to wreck some people with the rabbit. We'd been waiting so long to get to that part. Like, it was the whole point of the character.
Zone B
It was a good moment.
You have the advantage. Press on.
That just sounds wrong. I don't want to repeat it. Yeah.
Zone B lost.
Shout out to Johnny. Showing up. Do you still have this installed, John? I gotta get you. We gotta play this together sometime. I can teach you how this works, because the new light system is atrocious, and I can actually teach you how Destiny functions. I know I can hook you on this.
You captured Zone B. You have the advantage. Press on. The lead is yours.
He got real quiet. He's like, I don't want to play Destiny. My wife said I can't.
Zone B lost.
Either that or he just left. He could have just left.
Your opponent pulled ahead.
Every once in a while, the crew just stops in to say
9
hi
minutes left.
and then leaves. Ant has done that before. Really, only Liz and Greg haven't come by. All right, let me know when you reinstall it, man. We will we'll get you up on this stream, and we will we'll go shoot stuff together. I'm the only one not married, but I'm basically married, and we're all in committed relationships, so I'm like, I'm in the same boat too. I play too much of this game, and I'm like, see, sweetheart, look, I'm making it passive revenue. I could keep playing, right?
Zone C lost.
She can't get mad at me for playing role-playing games twice a week now. Cause one of it's for we get money. Not a lot, but like, you know, it's money. Sorry to burst anyone's immersion. We're not volunteers. We are compensated performers. And by performers, 1 professional voice actor and 4 friends of Greg's. Ari is also his friend, but like, Ari's a professional voice actor. You can like play games like Fallout New Vegas and hear him. and he narrates a lot of like reality shows. I mean, I'm an entertainment industry person too, but I'm a writer. Like, I'm the person you don't put in front of a camera because they're not meant to be in front of people. I would have, to be clear, when Greg said I'm thinking of starting a D&D stream, my immediate response was I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in. Like, we didn't talk anything at all. He's like, I don't know, I'm gonna try and do it in person, and I live in Jersey. I was like, I don't care. I freelance. I'm in. Let's do it. Like, I'll crash on your couch. Fuck it. Let's go. And I was prepared to do that, and then COVID happened, and then we started doing it remotely, and Greg started investing. Like, the only reason I'm able to stream right now is Greg sent me a web camera mount, a mic, and a boom arm. Like, he literally sent me the gear to stream with. Yeah, I was totally prepared. Just like John, I was totally prepared to just, like, Greg and I have been playing. I've known Greg since I was 18. Like, I'm in my 30s now. Greg and I have been playing pen and paper games forever. It's literally how we became friends. So when he said I'm gonna do a stream, I don't know. I've helped him on so many of his projects, like, but you know, bless Greg, he really turned how to drink into his livelihood. So it's his business, and he treats it like that. And he treats us with that level of respect. He's very transparent in how he's running everything. We have one group. There's not like a million like side channels of conversation. We have one group text chain. And he does. Greg likes making work for himself. That's one of the, yeah. I mean, I love Greg's bluntness. He will say things that you wish you had the nerve to say. I love his abrasiveness.
Zone A lost. You captured Zone C. Zone advantage is yours.
Which is really funny because he cultivates such a friendly personality on How to Drink. He's definitely like, I'm your liquor uncle. Here we go. But Greg losing his shit is one of the funniest things you can ever witness. Yeah, well, he wants it. He wants it to be that. But I like Greg when the camera's not running and when there's a tech problem and his eyes are about to bulge out of his skull. He's like, if this machine doesn't work, I will break it in half. What the fuck is happening? Greg losing his shit is priceless. And me frustrating him is also pretty fun. Yeah, I would say even the persona that he has on How to Drink, that's still authentically Greg. It's just a very calm Greg. It's Greg being very cautious. And like, Greg trying to control himself very, very hard. If you want to see what Greg's like, check out his Twitter. He's unhinged on Twitter. That's normal Greg. He will start shit with people on Twitter. It is hysterical. I'm pretty non-aggressive. I I've had to deal with enough trolls in my immediate friends and family that I then had to disconnect from my life, that I just cut assholes out of my life like I don't need them, because I don't, because I have one of my own. You only need one.
You captured Zone C. The fires are lit. Find your prey and end them.
That's the quote of this show. Assholes, you only need one.
The lead is
I mean,
yours.
Flower the Talking Flower will get this. I mean, unless you're a wizard, because then wizards have two buttholes.
Let the wolves rest.
That is, Flower the Talking Flower's name comes from an awesome podcast called Hello from the Magic Tavern. And if you haven't listened to it,
Captured Zone
it's
C.
like, what if some podcaster from Chicago wound up in Dungeons and shitty Lord of the Rings Dungeons and Dragons world, and oh my god, it's so good. And one of the characters is Usador, who I used to be able to do his entire intro, but he has a very long, complicated name. I believe he's the master of the 12 realms of Ephesius.
Zone advantage is yours.
His powers come from light and dark. He's got a lot of names. He's got so many names. But regardless, he has two buttholes.
5 minutes.
Usador the Blue.
Good swing.
But that's not just. That was his regular title.
You've lost the lead.
He had that Hoobastank one that that Arnie kept mispronouncing. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but Hello from the Magic Tavern got a shout out in What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show. So Nick Kroll, who I think maybe was a guest star in one episode of Hello from the Magic Tavern, or he probably listened to it.
Let the wolves rest.
But his character was introducing his crew in What We Do in the Shadows, and he goes, "And that's Chunt," which is an awful word to say, but he didn't make it up. Chunt is the name of one of the main characters in Hello from the Magic Tavern, who is a shapeshifter in the form of a badger, but he is a shapeshifter that can only change shape through sex. He has to bang his way into a new shape. So if he wants to become a spider, he has to slowly work his way down through smaller and smaller animals. And if he wants to be a bear, he's got to bang his way back up. Whatever physically fits together.
Zone C captured. Zone advantage is yours. Zone
Yeah, I'll get him to do it. Greg's gonna... He barely watched Venture Brothers, and now he's oh, I shouldn't talk about it. He wants to do the Doc Tales. He wants to do Dr. Venture's, like, off. I was like, he's like, there's a lot of cocktails. He doesn't even like Dune, and he did all those Dune drinks, and he texted me because I love Dune, and he's like, so, like, what do I do? What do I do with Dune?
minutes left. 2 zones are yours.
Always with consent, Flower. That's a given. It shouldn't. Well, it shouldn't. It should be a given. It's not. Let's be clear here. Everything happens with consent. Except me losing. I didn't consent to that. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to every victim who I just made light of. But that was still funny. Oh, Cody. What a journey you are on. I'm of the opinion that... So there are two schools. You're gonna either find Dune an incredibly dense, incomprehensible philosophical mess, or it's going to be one of the greatest books you've ever read. And I'm in the it's one of the greatest books you've ever read camp. I've read it like 5 times. I haven't read the books his son Brian wrote, but I read the 6 Dune books that the original author Frank Herbert wrote. We can talk about Dune. My cat's named after the main character. Oh, it'll take you a hot minute. It'll take you a hot minute. Take your time, especially with the first book. The highlights for me personally, everyone has their favorites. First book is my favorite, and then the fourth and the fifth books, God Emperor and Heretic of Dune. Those ones are great. They're really, really good. The movie looks solid. I'm doing coverage of it for CBR. I did like a trailer breakdown. Most of you would not need to look at it, because it's me like explaining basic things like the shields and like, okay, why was that needle a big deal? Well, it's the Gom Jabbar, and like that was the Bene Gesserit, and oh, there's Chani in the Fremen, and it's not actually pronounced Chani; it's pronounced Cheney. I've heard Frank Herbert like an audio interview, but I think of Dick Cheney, former vice president and Halliburton executive, so I say Chani instead. I don't care if it's a mispronunciation. But here's the big thing. So here's the big mystery. We've seen practically every major character, every major player in the trailer. Even Baron Harkonnen, we saw 2 little snippet shots of Baron Harkonnen, like he was rising out of black liquid. Very Baron Harkonnen of him. He was looking hideous, and we heard, like, kill them all. We had one line. So we saw the Baron, we saw Raban, who, if you read the book, I mean, in the movie, that's Dave Bautista. He's a bad guy. Who actually has a very small role in the book. Most of the shit Raban does happens off screen, so to speak. And it looks like the movie's playing it up. We haven't seen Fade. No Fade Rautha. And if you're familiar with other movie versions of Dune, that's the character Sting played in the 1984 version. And he's the really, after Baron Harkonnen, the most important bad guy. He's like the narrative foil for Paul. He's like the same age, part of the same Bene Gesserit breeding program. So you haven't yet. They never showed Fade, and they've also haven't made any casting announcements for Fade. We don't even know who's playing Fade. So that means either they got a really, really surprising big name to play Fade, or they did something really drastic, like they gender flipped Fade, and Fade's a girl now, and they want to hold on to it. That's something Hollywood. They did that with Chani's, well, it's her mother now, was her father. Liet Kynes, the leader of the Fremen, is a woman in the new movie, which is cool. I don't give a shit. Like, there wasn't a single part of Liet that needed to have a penis. I really don't, like, I'm a fan of the Battlestar Galactica reboot, Team Starbuck. Katie Sackhoff is awesome, so I've learned to shut the hell up about gender-flipping characters a long time ago. It's also smart because it's adding diversity, and the first book... Look, he wrote... some aspects of the book are dated, and one of them is the whiteness and the lack of... Initially, the lack of female characters. There were really only 2 or 3 significant female characters in the first book. Exactly, Flower. Spread the love. Let people get work. There's plenty of good actors out there. All different shapes and sizes. Exactly, what the frack indeed. So yeah, I literally made up a list of like all these different Dune articles I'm gonna write. So, you know, check out CBR a bunch. I'm gonna be writing a lot about Dune. I, for one, was very excited. So Denis Villeneuve, I have complicated feelings towards. I didn't want a sequel to Blade Runner, but he managed to make a sequel that I don't hate. And that has won incredible respect from me. Like, that movie shouldn't have been made, and it shouldn't have been good at all. And the fact that I like remember moments of it fondly, that's a titanic accomplishment, because Blade Runner is, I mean, it's probably my favorite movie. And that to me earned him, like, okay, I'll give him a shot with Dune. Especially when I heard in an interview that he wasn't like David Lynch or Alejandro Jodorowsky, who knew jack all about Dune. Neither of them read the book. Well, but when they agreed, they read the book afterwards. They agreed to make the movie, and then they're like, alright, so what's this thing about? That's not Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve is like, oh, I grew up, I love Dune, I'm a huge nerd, I really, really, really want to make Dune. And when you have that, odds are in your favor that you're going to get something that, even if it's not to the letter, it will be spiritually in line with the book. I think the movies, I don't think it'll have the complexity and profundity of the book. That's impossible. But I think it's going to be good. You'd think that, but y'all remember that comic book movie Wanted, starring James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie? Funny story about that. That movie has, after the first half hour, nothing to do with the comic book. And that is because the rights to the movie got sold before Wanted the miniseries was even finished, and the writer and director only had the first issue of Wanted. And they wrote the entire movie script based off of the first issue of Wanted, which is why it's some bizarre nonsense about a society of assassins who are really into looms and, like, weaving. They, when in fact the comic book Wanted would have been, if they made it a movie, it would have been one of the coolest superhero movies ever made. The premise of the comic book Wanted. Alright, later, John. Thanks for 5 a.m. start. Jeez. I will try to get some kills. I've been doing poorly as of late. I just blew myself up. But good night. Thanks for stopping by, John. I'll see you Thursday at the very least. So, Wanted. What you end up finding out is that the reason that Wesley can, like, bend bullets and shit is not because he's some super assassin. It's because he's, like, the son of Deadshot. And, like, he lives in a world where superheroes and supervillains exist. Yeah. You're right, Cody. But in the comic book world of Wanted, supervillains won. They beat all the superheroes, and then they rewrote reality so that we would all forget they were ever real, and they secretly run the world. And the main character joins, like, the Legion of Doom, and loses all morality and becomes a supervillain, and then has a psychotic break, and is like, I can't keep being a murderous villain. I have to take all these people out. And then it becomes a supervillain taking out all the other supervillains. And Angelina Jolie's character was the Fox and was meant to be Catwoman. And in the comic book, she looks like Halle Berry because the Halle Berry Catwoman movie had just happened. And they were making fun of that. And the main character was in black leather to make fun of the X-Men movies that were coming out. And all of that gets lost. Yeah, just a little different. Just a smidge different. So you would think that reading would be a prerequisite, but you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong. How am I doing here on these friggin' These are weekly quests, and I'm trying to do them. I meant to do it all week. Still, it's bull honky. I don't know. I maybe got like... I only have 45 minutes technically left on the stream. We'll see how I feel at midnight. I may do what I proposed, just so I can cheat my way into affiliate faster. I will end this stream and then immediately start another stream. Oh, Cody, you're talking my language, buddy. The Sandman was one of the most important reads for me in high school. I'm a big fan of the British invasion writers. I don't know if you can see it, but I have my Grant Morrison omnibus of the Invisibles right up there. So yeah, I'm a big Vertigo guy. I've read a lot of that stuff. I heard the audiobook is great. I had a friend of mine highly recommend it. And speaking of Wanted, James McAvoy, star of the movie, it plays the Sandman, I believe. I believe he's Morpheus, Lord of Dreams. And if I'm being clear here, he'd probably be a pretty good live action cast too. He's not like tall or skinny enough, but he could definitely do. He could definitely do the voice. You know what would make a good dream? Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany would make a really good dream. That just occurred to me right now. Put some black robes on him, paint him white, and give Paul Bettany a big Robert Smith from The Cure wig, and I'd watch the hell out of that. Neil Gaiman's on board with the Netflix adaptation, and to the extent he was with Good Omens, and the Good Omens adaptation was choice. So, like, I'm a big fan of the Good Omens book, and the Amazon miniseries friggin' nailed it. Michael Sheen and David Tennant crushed it as the platonic gay romance between an angel and a demon that you didn't know you wanted. So good. Watch Good Omens if you haven't seen it. It's not a bad kick to be on, Cody. Neil Gaiman is like a safe haven. His writing is comforting. Like, I don't know, the way he writes, it feels like a comfortable slipper. Anytime I crack open American Gods or Neverwhere, or even Sandman, the Neil Gaiman I recently reread was Marvel 1602, which, if you haven't read, is a really underrated miniseries. It's, it actually feels, I'll get comic book nerdy now, stylistically, it feels more like a DC Elseworlds title. Meaning that it's like a prestige format miniseries set in an alternate reality, which is usually not how Marvel does their alternate realities. They do alternate realities, but what they tend to do is either have them be part of the main story, like Age of Apocalypse or The Exiles, or they set up a whole other big continuity like the Ultimate Universe. They don't really do like a mini-series about another world and then walk away from it. Maybe Marvel Zombies, but they've gone back to it a million times. But 1602, which there were sequels of that Gaiman didn't write, but the original Marvel 1602 is like this perfect little gem. And it's what if the Marvel Universe started at the dawn of America, the dawn of North America, dawn of the New World, in the year 1602. And if you haven't checked it out, Neil Gaiman writes it. Andy Kubert does the art. He's the guy who did the art for Wolverine's Origin miniseries, which is also fantastic. I highly recommend you give 1602 a read. It's one of those comic book miniseries that, like, changes all the characters but distills them to their essential. And Neverwhere is a great gateway drug. Neverwhere would be the second Neil Gaiman thing I ever read. Good evening, Flower. Good luck. Stay safe. Up on the West Coast. Thank you for joining.
Zone A lost. You captured Zone B. You have the advantage. Press on.
I had that advantage. I will press on. Yeah, Neverwhere's good shit. Neverwhere felt like grown-up Alice in Wonderland.
Extended your lead. I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah. There are multiple editions of Stardust, and if I can recommend, it's harder to find. Do not get the novel version. Get the illustrated version. There's one where he does... It's got all the same words in it, but it has these beautiful, like, children's storybook illustrations from Charles Vess, who did some of the art in Sandman. Oh man, that is, if you're gonna read Stardust, that's the way to read it.
Zone C lost. The wolf's howl may be the last thing you hear.
Yeah, it's Alice in Wonderland for grown-ups, but not trying too hard, like American McGee's Alice, which, boy, that aged myself. I sure played that game a bunch, and definitely as an adolescent had a crush on goth Alice in Wonderland. Literally anyone goth. Oh, that's gotta be fun. Neil Gaiman's got a good speaking voice. Not every author does. Speaking of cyberpunk, I went, like 10 years ago to a, reading and signing at a Barnes & Noble, for one of William Gibson's new books. And I had never heard William Gibson talk before. And he's just very soft-spoken. And so, like, it definitely wasn't the narrator voice I heard in my head when I'm reading, like, the super cool dialogue in Neuromancer.
5 minutes remaining.
But,
Zone C. Zone advantage is yours.
I'll make all the obscure references, Cody. You stick around long enough. I have probably seen or played most of it. Whatever it is, I've done it. Most of it. At least a little bit. Mostly. They mostly come at night. Mostly. My girlfriend calls me the human IMDb. That's not a boast. It's sometimes she does it as like a curse. Like, the human IMDb, how the fuck do you know that? Like, why do you know that?
You're on the edge of victory. Annihilate.
But sometimes I just do.
Well fought and well won.
Sometimes things happen in my dreams just as they happen in real life. Perhaps I'm the Kwisatz Haderach. Could be. I could be the Kwisatz. You don't know that. Don't tell me what I am and am not. Speaking of, my jerk of a cat who has not appeared all session, he went from his perch over there to his perch over here. He is literally, like, exactly off frame. My cat is just like, nah, I'm not gonna do it tonight. I don't wanna. It's fun, but not like a useful adult skill. Oh, that got your attention. All I had to do was get the treats. I reached for the treats. I cheated. I put in my contra code to get the cat. He's gonna go away. He'll lick my fingers and then he'll go away because he's like, I don't want to be on the comic books right now. I want more treats. I don't want pets. I want treats. No more treats? I'm getting out of here. Goodbye. See? I know my cat. Fuzzy bastard. He went right back to where he is. He's right here. Like, literally an inch off screen. I gotta set up another camera. That's what I gotta do. I gotta put a camera over here, so that whenever he's over there, I can cut to him. And then I just gotta spin it the other way when he's standing over there. See, no choice. You may think that you have autonomy, but do you know you are a slave kept in a gilded cage? Technically, you're property. You're just property I like a lot. I mean, he's a cat. He is the one running the show. When you think about it, free rent in a New York City apartment, free food, and he gets 2 people to scoop his shit. And he doesn't have to do anything. Like, we've got a conscience. Even if he was mean, we would have kept him. So he doesn't even have to be a nice cat. We could have just had an asshole cat. And for the record, he is a very nice cat. He's a very gentle, sweet cat. He's timid as hell. It is a sweet deal. I'll tell you, if I believed in karma and reincarnation, I'd come back as a pampered, middle-class house cat in any developed country in the world.
You captured Zone A. Yes, the hunt is on.
Don't tear up or pee on my comics. That's the rule. And, like, don't bite my balls. Now, you laugh. You may laugh at that, like that's random. But my mom had a cat. It was a Russian blue named Frodo. And he hated my father. And he did, in fact, one time, after my parents had come back from a vacation, he bit my dad on the junk. But my dad got revenge. See, what that cat was unaware of is that my father was a doctor, which means he can prescribe medications whenever he wants. And he broke off the tiniest bit of Prozac and gave it to the cat one night. And this is for real. He's not a practicing doctor anymore. He lost his license. No, he didn't. He just retired. He's old. My parents are old Jews. And my dad tells this great story, because this was like the night after the cat bit his nuts, and he was angry. So my dad wanted a little feedback. He's like, I want a night's sleep. I want a night's sleep, and I want to enjoy the company of my wife. God damn it! So he gives the cat some Prozac, and it's later at night. The cat's chill. He's finally asleep, and my dad is sitting in bed, and he hears the cat jump up on the bed, a little slow, a little languid. And he feels the cat footsteps, and he's counting them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's counting, and then one footstep doesn't happen, and he stops feeling the pressure on the floor, and then a second later he just hears a thunk, and then silence, and my dad starts counting: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Just drugged and doped out on the floor beside my dad's bed. My mom gets mad at that story, but my dad's like, cat never bit me in the junk again. Family gems that I'm sharing with you. None of this is made up. If you've ever watched Seinfeld, I have Seinfeld's parents. Do you need money? Are you eating enough? What are you doing spending that much on a haircut? I can do all this and it's not a stereotype. It's okay. Now, to be fair, it may sound like my dad was being harsh, but Frodo is the opposite of my cat. Frodo passed away when I was 9. Frodo was a vicious son of a bitch who was nice to exactly 2 humans on this planet. My mother and me, because I was a baby. And he saw that my mom cared a lot about me. That's cool, Cody. You do what you gotta. I don't honestly expect all of you to stay 100% engaged. Although I am thoroughly appreciative of all the chat. It's been very encouraging because this is maybe my 15th stream. I haven't been doing it for that long, so being able to maintain an audience of any kind and the fact that I've been able to break into 2 digits was good, considering I'm not like Greg. I'm not a social media influencer with like 1 million followers. I'm just the guy riding his coattails.
That's it. One.
I mean, a valid reason to step away. Sometimes you need to go pet the cat because if you don't, they get lumps in them, and you gotta make sure that the cat doesn't have lumps. You gotta smooth it out. You gotta get rid of the cat lumps. Sorry, that's the gibberish I say when I'm petting my cat. Everyone has their animal owner gibberish. Don't act like you don't. I called a lot of you liars. Why don't you come where the people are? Like the Little Mermaid song. Don't you want to be where the people are? Up here. No, he didn't. He doesn't. He's not feeling it. Yeah, I'm controlling myself. If I was not on camera, my ass would be in the camera and I'd be in the cat's face. I'd be like, oh. I want to right now, and it's hard. All the petting you're missing out on because you're too far away, just staring at me, like I'm gonna bring you the meaning of life or something. Your brain's the size of a walnut. You poop in a box. You better hope society doesn't fall apart, because you would not make it on the tough streets of a post-apocalyptic Brooklyn, cat. He really wouldn't. He does not have the heart of a warrior. The first time I had to take him to the vet, like, you've heard the phrase, I've been so scared I've shit myself. The act of getting him into the carrier scared him so much, my cat shit himself. And what was worse is he jumped on the radiator when he did it too, and it was winter. And the radiator was on, so I had cooking poop in my apartment very quickly. Yeah, you. Little turd waffle. I'm not getting out of the chair. You don't win just because you're cute looking. But if you meow and everyone hears you, I may get points.
Iron Banner.
But you're being quiet.
Let the contest begin.
I do hold regular conversations with him too, like this.
Captured Zone A. Opponent claims Zone C.
It's better than talking to myself, which I would do. I suppose that's also a good reason to keep doing Twitch. This is like one way to keep me from becoming that muttering guy on the corner. He says he's a writer, but all he does is pace around and tug at his beard. Talk about the men upstairs. I always feel like I'm gonna, like, go off the rails and, like, Howard Hughes style. Tissue boxes on my feet. Chucking hard candy at the local children. Yes, Captain Manic. In emojis, you summed up a real scenario in my life. A real shame I had to feel. I mean, I wasn't really the one shamed. The cat was really embarrassed. The vet felt bad for me. I brought the cat in and I explained, like, he was just so terrified. And they could tell. They're like, oh my god, he's, like, traumatized by this whole thing. They're like, do you want us to clean up? I'm like, yes, please. Please wipe the shit off my cat. Thank you. This is what you get for not being on camera. I'm like a parent. I'm telling your most embarrassing stories. Not the cute ones. Yeah. One more jump. No, you're not doing it. You're just standing there he's on the filing cabinet again. I should have never put that filing cabinet there. That's not true. Without the filing cabinet, he couldn't get onto the shelf. We created a very specific cat jungle gym here. Honestly, I feel like that's one of the pros of being a cat, is that they are so prideful that it is impossible for them to feel shame. Like, even when they derp out, every cat acts like they did it on purpose. Like, they'll spaz out and then they'll stand there and be like, no, I meant to do that. No, it was exactly, I meant to flip out for no reason, bite my own tail and claw you. That was exactly what I meant to do. And then they, like, clean themselves, like, oh, it was nothing. Come on! There we go. That's how you get some quality murdering in. I am being so cheap. This whole night, I've just been using my fireball cannon. One of the most annoying weapons to use in PvP. Jotun!
I'm calling it.
You're calling it? I'm shredding it. Shred, shred, shred. I'm gonna take off my headphones. It's hard to see in Cyberpunk because of the lighting. But I got my mohawk is sweet. Look at that. I always wanted a mohawk. I used Cyberpunk as an excuse, and I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it now. I am now a guy. I am now a guy with a mohawk. 15-year-old me is very happy. My inner teenager is like, punk, hell yeah. You can keep staring at me down where kitty cam has to go, but again, I'm not leaving this chair. I have 10 people who need me right now. And you are one cat. And you have access to me most of the time. So I feel like you're being really selfish and unfair. It's true. Killing dudes is killing dudes. I like that statement. Alright, I've punished myself almost halfway through all this PvP. Which means Saturday's session is probably going to be more... Well, I can do other stuff. There's other... People are curious about seeing other parts of the game. I'm more than happy to show other parts of the game. I'm just doing what I feel like doing. But so far no one's made any requests to see a particular aspect of Destiny. But I feel like the Destiny, again, is kind of the secondary part of this stream.
Use everything in your power.
The game I'm playing is secondary to the video game stream that I am running. That is the paradox I live. I have more emotes than this, but it's my favorite. I also love using emotes at inappropriate times to frustrate my teammates. I know that that's not good tactics, but who doesn't want to, like, who doesn't want to do some shit? Yes, I have 2 separate guitar emotes. One of my guitar emotes is the one with the foot on the amp. And it's a loop, and it keeps going. But the other one, this one, you pull a full Kurt Cobain here, and you start smashing the crap out of stuff. Look at that, grunge.
Now your lead is even greater, but it's not over.
The only emote that they've put in this game that I regret not getting was the Thriller dance. They had the dance from Thriller, and I never got it. I didn't want to spend real money. But now I kind of wish I did. Michael Jackson's dead now, so we can enjoy his music again and not worry about the creepy kid stuff. That's how it works. It's okay after they die. Although I don't think anyone's going to be able to watch The Cosby Show, like, ever again. Like, I'll be honest, I used to be a pretty big fan of, like, Roman Polanski and Woody Allen movies when I was younger and before their sexual abuse was explained to me. And I developed the appropriate amount of human empathy. I haven't watched a movie from either of them in a long time, and it sucks because, I'll tell you the truth, straight up, Rosemary's Baby, one of the best horror movies you will ever see. Roman Polanski made it. The early Woody Allen stuff is priceless. Annie Hall, Sleeper, everything you want to know about sex but are too afraid to ask. That movie's great. Bananas, Manhattan, like, you've made a lot of good movies. Although Manhattan is super creepy in hindsight. And I can't watch that stuff. No, I did not hear about the Jeepers Creepers director. He's clearly not as famous as the rest of them, but, like, was he Bryan Singer bad?
I'm calling it.
Bryan Singer, creator of House and director of most of the X-Men movies and The Usual Suspects, is like a horrifying sexual predator. I've met him too. He didn't sexually predator me. I was in public with him, and he could probably tell I probably wasn't his type. Let's be honest here. Yeah, I mean, I can burst your bubble. Like, the principal from Ferris Bueller and the dad from Beetlejuice, Jeffrey Jones, that dude got caught with child porn. Sorry to ruin that for you. He was also in Deadwood. Zen Moment Rampage. I believe I already have one of you. But I'll give you to one of my alts. Yeah, I was in my early 20s. You're right, Juan. It's a shame. He was nice when I met him. He wasn't doing, like, when, to be clear, when I met him, he didn't do anything creepy. But, like, I knew about the rumors before I met him. And that was back in '07, '06. We get to say that now. Aught means zero. So we get to talk all old-timey. So instead of saying 2005, you can be, yeah, back in '05. And you can use your old Farmer John voice. I encourage all of you to refer to the first decade of this millennium in an old Farmer John voice and aughts. Use the aught. Just because it sounds cool. Nobody's been in the abandoned sugar factory since '09. Say it's haunted by a ghost. You meddling kids better be careful. If I could do a Shaggy impression, I would. I look like Shaggy under the right circumstances, but I can't sound like him. Victor Salva. Oh, well, I will enter him into the chronicles of shitty people who work in the entertainment industry. He joins a very esteemed list. Weirdest thing that I had to write about? Like professionally or just ever? The weirdest thing I had to write about professionally was an article for CBR from last summer that was about QAnon going to Black Lives Matter rally protests or whatever and handing out flyers using the Punisher's logo in the middle of the queue for QAnon. And Marvel, like, being like, if you don't stop that, I'm gonna goddamn sue you. I'm Disney. So that's probably the strangest professional article that I've ever... Or the strangest thing I've been paid to write. The strangest thing that I ever had to write was in college, in my freshman year of college, our screenwriting 101 class, we were told to take a scene from a moment from our lives, and like a story, and write a short film, like a 10-page script out of an event from your life. So I had to adapt my own life, part of my own life, via screenplay and translate it in that format. So I'd say that was probably the strangest conceptually. I'm a weird guy, so like my stories, my fiction, the things that I write, not the stuff I do coverage on, is pretty out there in and of itself. I am a fan of the strange and unusual. And the game plan is not to be an article writer forever. The game plan is to just be a writer. But you got to start making some money somewhere. So I'm doing that, and I really like writing for CBR. They're really nice, like for real. They're very nice people. Um, but you know, whatever they'll let me write, movies, TV shows, books, comics, whatever someone's stupid enough to give me money for, I'll write it. Um, I tend to write a lot of sci-fi and horror. Um, those seem to be my strong suits. I've never written like a political thriller or a tense family drama or any of that. I do some fantasy elements. Sometimes comedy is a frequent element in stuff I do, but I've never also written a straight up comedy. Like I'll do a horror movie with a lot of comedy elements, or an action movie with a lot of comedy elements, or something like that. But I usually write weird. Writing weird's a good way to go through life. Don't be normal, be weird. Weird is better. Reject normalcy. That's a subjective term. It's restrictions other people put on you. Don't hurt anyone else and be respectful of other people's space. Like, consent is key, but also don't be normal. Embrace being weird. That's my bit of advice. I spent too much of my childhood being an insecure nerd, wanting other people's approval, and thinking that being normal was such a good thing. And now that I'm an adult and I see other people live, yep, normal is entirely overrated. I see normal lives, and I have made a conscious decision not to live a normal life. So far, so good. And I recommend everybody do that. You'll feel better with some weirdness.
Iron Banner. Prove you're ready for what comes.
You are a son of a bitch, cat. Smug
Zone C captured.
and churlish. That's what I think your behavior is. Not you, audience. I'm again talking to my cat. You're all wonderful. Alright, so it's 11:50. I think what we're gonna do is, after this match, let's see if we can cheese... Let's see if we can cheese our way into hitting affiliate early. So in 10 minutes, I'm gonna stop the stream. I'll take a bio break for like 5 minutes, and then I'll come back for another hour or two, and then we'll do something else. I think I've probably played enough Iron Banner for a while. And I'll go do some other aspect of Destiny. I'm feeling it. I got the touch, I got the power, and I am not Optimus Prime. I will survive this story. He says, as he dies, Rodimus, take the Unimatrix. Hasbro thought they were just coming up... Oh, thanks, Cody. Hasbro thought they were just coming up with, kids' toys. Oh, we just gotta kill off the old ones, not realizing making a children's movie where they murder all of the characters from the cartoon show in the first 10 minutes is, like, maybe a bad idea. As you watch Jazz get torn to pieces. I'm talking about the Transformers animated movie now. Things have gone to a dark place, people. Well, hopefully I'll have enough of you fine people to follow me. See, this Titan gets it. You've got
Opponent claims Zone C.
That, let me tell you, that is his formula. And Michael Bay's formula was never on finer display than The Rock. The Rock is legitimately one of the coolest action movies you will ever see. It does all the stereotypical Hollywood things like it works the title into the movie, and it's a great catch line. Just Sean Connery, track zoom in, welcome to The Rock. And they made Nicolas Cage as some neurotic, nebbish, manic weirdo. So you get to watch. Yeah, The Rock's great. Like, I'm not making fun of it.
Zone A lost.
The Rock is a legit 90s action movie gold. Right up there with Speed and The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I love Brendan Fraser. Everybody watch Doom Patrol. He's in it. He's not dead. Brendan Fraser's very much alive, and he's really funny in Doom Patrol. He plays an idiot race car driver who gets his brain jammed into a robot body. You should watch Doom Patrol.
Captured Zone A.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. That is such a great line. I feel like that was Sean Connery's last really good performance. That was after The Untouchables, before League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and he was not phoning it in on The Rock. We were getting like James Bond level devotion from Sean Connery on that one. He gave a crap. That was... I love that. I love that movie.
Opponent claimed Zone A.
I like a lot of movies, though. I'm not like Greg. Greg is very... Well, if we're do comparisons, Greg's very particular about what movies he likes.
5 minutes.
There are things I like where, like, I feel like the act of telling him I've enjoyed this movie has endangered our friendship. Like, he's had some violent reactions. Oh, you're one of those people?
Opponent claimed Zone B.
I'm trying to remember things I like that Greg hates. Battlestar Galactica. Firefly. It just wasn't the comic. And to be fair, it was written by a very good comic writer. James Robinson wrote the screenplay to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but of course, Alan Moore, the eternally grumpy Alan Moore, wrote the comic. James Robinson wrote a really fantastic DC comic called Starman, which, if you have not read, is awesome, and yes, is related to the DC show Stargirl. The TV show changed a bunch of stuff. That, like, cool staff she wields, she got from the Starman of James Robinson's comic. Is this a good swarm? Ambitious assassin and snapshot sights. I don't hate it. This is one of the best grenade launchers in the game, so you want to try and get a good roll of it. And I have a mediocre roll of it now. So, huzzah! It'll join my other mediocre roll. Alright. So I'm not going to exit Destiny, but I'm going to Alt-Tab for a quick sec. You guys are going to see my fascinating Steam library. Well, you actually probably won't, because I'm not even going to give this a thanks for watching. I'm going to end it, but it's a be right back. So I'll be right back, y'all. I'm going to end this stream, and then in like 5 minutes, I'm going to start up another stream and see if I can cheat my way into getting affiliate faster. And hopefully you all be there. So, be right back.